What if I told you one of the most powerful emperors in world history publicly confessed his guilt, not in secret, not in a diary, but carved into stone for the entire empire to read? This was not a weak ruler. This was Ashoka, the most feared king of the Mauryan Empire, a conqueror, a strategist, a man who built one of the largest empires in ancient history. But after one devastating war, he did something no emperor had ever done before. He admitted he was wrong, and he made sure the world would never forget it. In the 3rd century BCE, the Mauryan Empire dominated most of the Indian subcontinent. Ashoka was ambitious, relentless, determined to unite every remaining independent region under his rule. One kingdom stood in his way: Kalinga. In 261 BCE, Ashoka launched a massive invasion known as the Kalinga War. It was brutal. Historical inscriptions record that over 100,000 people were killed, 150,000 were deported, countless others died from famine and suffering afterward. The rivers reportedly ran red, cities burned, families were destroyed, and Ashoka won. But something unexpected happened on that battlefield. Standing among the dead and the grieving, Ashoka saw not victory, but devastation. In his own words, later carved into stone, he declared deep remorse for the suffering caused in Kalinga. This wasn't written centuries later by historians. These were his own words, his confession. He admitted that the slaughter caused him profound sorrow and regret. For a ruler of that era, this was extraordinary. Kings celebrated conquest, they glorified bloodshed. But Ashoka? He chose something different. Instead of hiding his regret, Ashoka had his message carved into massive rocks and pillars across his empire. Today, we call them the Ashokan Edicts. They were written in Brahmi and other regional scripts, so ordinary people could read them. In these inscriptions, Ashoka declared, "True victory is not through war. Moral conquest, conquest through Dhamma, is superior. All religions deserve respect. Leaders must act with compassion." He reduced animal slaughter. He built hospitals for humans and animals. He ordered wells to be dug and trees planted along roads. He sent messengers of peace beyond his borders, even to Greek kingdoms. This was not propaganda celebrating glory. It was public accountability, carved in stone. After Kalinga, Ashoka embraced Buddhist principles, but his idea of Dhamma was broader than religion. It meant ethical governance, kindness, tolerance, self-control, non-violence. The lion capital at Sarnath, now India's national emblem, once stood atop one of his pillars. Think about that. A symbol born from a ruler's regret became the emblem of an entire nation thousands of years later. Ashoka proved something radical. The greatest transformation is not of territory, but of the self. We live in a world where leaders rarely admit mistakes. Failures are hidden, errors are denied, narratives are controlled. But over 2,200 years ago, Ashoka did the opposite. He carved his remorse into stone, permanent, unchangeable, public. He showed that real strength is not domination, it is responsibility. Not conquest, but conscience. So, here's the question. If today's world leaders had to carve their decisions into stone, knowing future generations would read them, would they rule differently? And deeper than that, do we have the courage to admit our own mistakes the way Ashoka did? Because maybe true greatness isn't about how much power you gain. It's about what you do when you realize you were wrong. What do you think?